Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
Night has fallen once again as we set another infestation to the flame, while some old habits are proving themselves to die hard. So welcome back for episode 163 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me once again is the man who beats them all to the punch, whoever they are, Mr. Jez Corden. Welcome back again, good sir.
Hello. We're here. We're beating people to the punch.
Every time.
Every time.
All of them.
Yes.
Whatever it may be, you got them. And we're back now after we had to extend a week because I guess I didn't realize Easter was on the calendar. I didn't even really think about it, and then you messaged me. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, Easter. So how was your Easter?
It was eventful, actually. Like, it's weird because I wasn't really planning on. I didn't plan on doing anything myself. My family was like, "Oh yeah, we're doing things. We are so doing things." So I was like, "Oh okay then. That's what's happening then." So I couldn't do my own podcast on Xbox 2 last week because of that.
Yeah.
So they kind of threw everything out of whack. So.
Oh man.
But now we're back and everything's fine and dandy. I went on a mini break to the country of Wales, well, Principality, I suppose.
Oh.
And I got horrifically sunburnt because in my head, Wales is not the sunniest place in the world, but apparently there's some kind of heat wave and constant blue skies, and I got the worst sunburn I've ever had in my life.
Oh no.
Worse sunburn than LA, worse sunburn than Hawaii, so...
Oh no.
Yeah. It's really bad. I look like a tomato. Because I don't go brown. I go red. I look like a tomato right now, so... That's been my Easter. Oh, and also I got the flu or something as well, so... I sound a bit nasally. It's because I can't breathe. Yeah, this is just the complaining podcast today.
That's okay. There's going to be more of it to come. So, you're setting a good tone here. Yeah, I don't really think about getting sunburned up in that part of the world. So, I guess a foreigner of that land, I would not even think, "Oh yeah, I need my SPF 70 or whatever while I'm walking around." So you're hurting inside and out. That's a brutal way to spend some time. But I guess for my own knowledge base, what's like a traditional Easter over there? Because I know here, depending on your sort of religious background, it may be a lot of church events, or if you're less so, it may be just Easter egg hunts and chocolate and bunnies or the spring festival type thing. But what's like a cooking a ham? There's always a ham. I always end up doing a spiral ham, and they're always delicious. But what do you do over there? What's a traditional Easter?
Well, Britain's quite a secular kind of country, so it's not really like a big religious thing here anymore. It's mostly like Christmas, I guess. Only with less gifts and more chocolate eggs. Really.
Do you still get an Easter basket? Did you ever get one?
No. I don't think that's much of a British thing. It's that's something they do in Germany though. So when I went to Germany for the first time and experienced Easter there, that was very much, I think, more American style, or well, I suppose America's more German style, really. I guess because the immigrants and stuff. But yeah, they do the Easter egg hunts. They got the basket and all that kind of stuff. But Britain's more like, 2 weeks off school and then getting some eggs. That's pretty much Easter for Britain. I mean, I'm sure there are families have their own traditions. Maybe visiting family and stuff. Maybe have like a get together and have lunch, because it's a 4-day weekend we get for Easter here. The kids get 2 weeks off school, so yeah, it's just like a spring break, I guess. So not anything spectacularly special, I suppose.
Oh, man, 2 weeks would be nice. We get one. Kids get one week of spring break. Yeah. Sometimes that corresponds with Easter, but I guess for us this year we had sort of another complicating factor, and I don't know if this played any role for you. Maybe it didn't. But for us, for the first time, we had WrestleMania happening on Easter, which was its own battle, where we have 2 nights of WrestleMania now, and so the second one fell on Easter, and we ended up, for the first time ever in my whole life, really not even doing anything for Easter. We had a little egg hunt for the boy in the morning, and he got a shit ton of chocolate and that kind of thing. But other than that, we almost had no recognition of Easter of any kind, because it was pretty much all WrestleMania. Which, have you had a chance to watch any of that yourself?
I've watched night 1. I didn't watch night 2 because that was the day I was traveling to Wales. But I know all the spoilers anyway, so, or like most of them at least. So this always happens. Like 2 days of WrestleMania is like a big commitment for me.
That's
so
wild.
like this happened last year too. It was like I watched night 1, and then it took me ages to find the time to watch night 2. It's 4 hours, man. It's crazy.
It's so well, and for them, right? It's Friday night SmackDown, then Saturday, Sunday WrestleMania, and then Monday Night Raw. It's like you're just, and then I guess Tuesday NXT. So it's just constant here. Night 1 was great. Night 2 ended horribly, and I know that this is a Warcraft podcast, and I promise we'll eventually get to the World of Warcraft stuff. But I just need to put on my own 2 cents on this: is that never let Travis Scott anywhere near a wrestling ring ever again, and The Rock should never be involved in anything. Should never involve himself in wrestling affairs ever again, as I think.
I have seen the controversy around The Rock, and I have no idea why they're pushing Travis Scott so hard. Like, I don't even know. I didn't even know who the guy was. And then I looked him up online, and apparently he's famous for people dying at his concert or something. Like, bro, why is this guy... Apparently. Yeah, like, why is this guy...
He's a multi-platinum... I mean, it's not my jam. Obviously, it's not yours either. But, he's a huge...
Like, who listens to this music? I never see anyone talking about Travis Scott in any capacity, unless it's, like, negative.
It's not in my wheelhouse.
I guess it's what the kids like, right?
That's my guess. That's sort of my understanding what it is. But, yeah, it was brutal. But leading up to it, we actually had Monday Night Raw. The last Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania here, right down the road here in Sacramento. And it was awesome because my son and I were on TV a whole bunch. If you know what to look for 2 people standing next to each other in these bright teal Yeet shirts, and you will see us. We were behind Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns a lot in some of these shots, so we ended up in some of the promo stuff, and it was fantastic. That Raw was a little bit of a letdown because it was mostly hype, but that was super fun. And I say all of this, you're like, where are you going with this? Okay, I am going somewhere with this because, Jez, it leads us into our metal album of the week. There was a wonderful package that was put together for night 1. You may know where I'm going with this. For night 1, there was a triple threat between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. And they used way condensed because it's like an 8-minute song, but they used a Machine Head song as sort of like the background music for the hype piece for this triple threat.
Yes.
Sail Into the Black, which is a phenomenal song. It's very long, but so for you this week, the album that song is on Bloodstone and Diamonds, going back to November 7th of 2014 when this came out. Second time that Machine Head has showed up in this metal album of the week section, because they are a fantastic metal band. They've been around. They're still around, still touring, still kicking ass. They sound great. It's been a few years since I've seen them, but they were fantastic. But another just solid outing, and great background music for hype pieces. But do you know this? Do you recall this song being played? Do you know this album at all?
I don't, I'm afraid. Machine Head's like one of them bands that I really want to get more into, but I just haven't really done it yet. It's like a sort of to-do list to some degree.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
They got a lot of good stuff. But yeah, it got me hyped up, and I was like, man, I haven't listened to this in forever. And so leading up to this recording, actually, between you and I've been listening to it like all week. I'm like, yes, this absolutely has to be the album this week. So there you go. This week, Bloodstone and Diamonds by Machine Head. Give it a listen. Apparently it's so good that they're using it in WrestleMania promos. So get out there and stick that in your ear hole. All right, we got a rage topic that's been bothering me for a little while, Jez, and I have a feeling other players may have experienced this same challenge. So let's get into it. Let's rage. One of the triumphs of the War Within, I think, has been Delves. It's been a wonderful solo challenge. The homie Rommel and I, we have a standing date once a week. We get together and run a few, and it's been a great, rewarding way to, get a piece of gear here and there, level up, do all these things, and it fills some of the hole that was left when raiding was no longer part of my life. But as we all know, like raids, like dungeons, like everything else, some delves are good, some delves, maybe less so. And the ones that I've avoided almost universally are the ones that are underwater, because already hard enough, and now I have to worry about this breathing mechanic and finding a bubble or doing a thing, and oh my god, it's awful. Well, to my surprise, jumped in recently, and lo and behold, there was a vendor right inside one of these underwater delves offering me for 200 gold the ability to have a little on-demand bubble button. And I was like, you know what? This is it. This solves just all my problem. 200 gold. It's a little steep. I know inflation's a big thing these days. Back in my day, that probably would have only been 5 gold, but ice cream used to be a nickel too, so I kind of have to let that go. So I did that delve. It was great. Survived, no problem. And then went to do another underwater one. And wouldn't you know it, there's no vendor. There's no bubble button vendor. What happened there? Jez, I had to go through like 1/8 of a delve to complete a quest first. And then I got my little bubble button from saving some people or whatever. This needs to be uniform. I may not even survive that long. I may get stuck. My foot might get caught in a root. Some shark might come get me. There could be a million other things that get me, and I'm distracted, and I lose my bubble and my air, and then I choke and I die, all because they couldn't put a vendor right at the beginning. Now, I know I'll get a bubble later, but it's got to be up front every time, Jez. They've spoiled me now. They've given me the thing. They popped the cork on that. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You got to let me have a bubble button every time. This is just... Blizzard's lost their mind. This is just not right. I don't know. Jez, do you struggle at all with the bubble button?
I don't, because I actually enjoy the underwater delves.
No.
Because I'm a warlock and I've got infinite breathing. So.
Oh, well then, fine.
Kind of cheating for me, I suppose.
Cheater. You're the worst offender of all. Unbelievable. Well, for the rest of us, mere mortals, I appreciate that they've added it. I'm sure they have metrics that show some of these underwater ones don't get run nearly as many times as some of the others. I would love to see that if they would ever put that in a presentation somewhere. But Blizzard, you spoiled me. You put a bubble button vendor somewhere. You do it once. You gotta do it for all of them, or else you're playing favorites. And we can't have that in this world. It's just not fair. You gotta let us all cheat, just like chess. So now that I've got that off my chest, we do have some actual new stuff to talk about, and there's been some highs, and unfortunately, there's been probably many more lows. So let's talk about some of that in our news. So this past week, patch 11.1.5 launched. This was on April 22nd. This is the Nightfall event, something that we knew was coming. And so in it, we knew there was going to be this Nightfall situation, the Nightfall scenario. We were going to have new rewards with the new faction. And we're going to have this, horrific visions revisited. You and I talked about that before. This dastardly duos situation. We're going to be fighting some old raid bosses and a few other things, including a cooldown manager, which if you didn't want to have to mess with an add-on of that type, they now have one native within the game. And they also, for a period of time, are going to have something they call the Winds of Mysterious Fortune, which is about leveling, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, I guess. But the biggest thing to me, right off the front, before jumping into the game, before playing anything, before anything else, what really surprised me about this, because we have, you know what, I should probably pull this up. I probably should have pulled this up before. We have this 2025 roadmap. I'm going to pull this up for my own edification here so I can actually see this damn thing. And we knew, okay, in the spring, there's going to be this Nightfall content. There's going to be a Children's Week update or whatever. And then later on in the spring, we're going to have more story, some other updates, and then turbulent timeways. So we know the spring is kind of this patch interstitial between 11.1 and 11.2. But what's really odd about this mini patch, sub patch, half patch, whatever we're calling these, is that right now we have the Nightfall scenarios and the cooldown manager and this Winds of Mysterious Fortune, but we don't get the horrific visions until May 20th, and then we don't get the dastardly duos until June 3rd. So from June 3rd to July 15th, which also seems to kind of give us a clue about when 11.1.7 might be dropping, which if that's, I don't know, or 11.2 somewhere. It seems just so odd to pace things out like this. And I guess you could look at it as, well, every month I'm looking at something new that's going to be happening. But Jez, is this a way of them to try to stretch out engagement? Is this because they're over-promising and under-delivering? Why would they stretch out like a little sub-patch so far in this way, do you think?
I think it is designed around mitigating churn, and churn is what the churn rate is kind of what they is how they describe people unsubscribing, right? So the amount of people that they subscribe and then they unsubscribe, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. And I suppose the whole point of moving things around like this is so you stay subscribed for longer, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it always has the intended effect, in my view. because, like right now, for example, I've done pretty much everything that I wanted to do, all the way through. What do you call it? Undermine.
You
right?
did the head of the curve, right?
Yeah, I've done ahead of the curve. I done Undermine. Got all the transmog I wanted. I even got a prototype ASMR mount. So happy about that on our first Gallywix kill. That's like the luckiest I've ever been in my life, I think. So like, if I play the lottery now, I'm just not going to win because I used up all of my luck.
You blew it all on a mount.
On this mount, yeah. So got the mount on our first ever heroic kill of Gallywix. There's literally nothing else I want now. I've got 2,500 rating. Now I am like the kind of person who will buy subscription a year at a time. So I suppose I don't have to worry about me unsubscribing. But if I was someone who pays month over month over month, I would probably have unsubscribed by now because I'm not really interested in the paladin themed transmog they've got going on for this. I can't even remember what they've called it now. This mini.
The Nightfall or the
Nightfall stuff. I'm not really that interested in that one. I was a little bit more interested in Heroic Visions. Horrific Vision, not Heroic Visions. Horrific Vision, sorry. I was a little bit more interested in that because, I'm one of the weird people who actually kind of enjoyed that back in the day. So I was excited to see that come back. But again, it's also kind of like, would I wait around for that to come out? I don't know why they didn't just drop everything all at once, Yeah. Let people farm what they want to farm, because at the end of the day, I would skip the Paladin theme stuff, but I would be playing the Heroic Visions now. But instead, I've gone off and started playing other games instead. For example, I've been playing Clair Obscur, which is amazing. And I've also been playing Overwatch's new Stadium mode, which I guess, it's a Blizzard game, so they're kind of laughing at me right now.
They still got you.
Yeah, they've still got me. And also I'm going to be playing Diablo's new season, which starts next week. So they've still got me anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bitching, really. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's like, actually, we don't want to give them too much content, because then they won't try out Stadium mode and they won't try out the Diablo 4 Season 8 or whatever it is. So, like, maybe that was it. Maybe they were throwing a bone to Diablo and Overwatch by spreading it out like this. I don't know. But I don't know what the logic is there. For me, I would have just dropped it all at once. I mean, but I suppose they want people to feel like there's something new later on down the line, because, if people blitzkrieg it all in 1 week, then we'll be complaining that there's nothing else on the horizon. I mean, when do you think the next season's coming out? It's got to be quite a long way away, I would imagine, right?
Based on, again, the roadmap and looking at, that's what's kind of confusing to me is when they use the seasons on the roadmap. I think they literally are talking about when these seasonal changeovers happen on the calendar. So, summer doesn't happen until late June. And if I'm looking at this and going, okay, well, Dastardly Duos, one of the more fun things that I thought would be coming out of this sub patch, because, I'm curious to see what the bosses are and how that works. And they it sounds like it's kind of a fun thing where you're scoring points and getting buffs and doing it's like a different way of approaching, famous past bosses or whatever. It sounds engaging. It sounds interesting. Still haven't really taken much of a look at it yet, but June 3rd to July 15th. Again, if I match that up to the roadmap, 11.1.7 is launching in that same window. So why not put that as part of that next patch? It doesn't make a lot of sense, because then further on, 11.2, that looks like July. Because it looks like it's not the beginning of summer. It looks like it's kind of a little bit into summer. And again, looking at these dates, the way that they're set up, that to me looks like July. And then you have expansion reveal for Midnight in late-ish summer. So that's probably what? September? Early September? Late, August, somewhere in there. So I don't know, man. It just to me, it reeks of, we have a roadmap. We've been hitting these things. We promised all this stuff. We haven't really had to pull back on anything before, but maybe some of these things just aren't cooked, or we need more time, or whatever it is. And so we're going to kind of dole it out a little bit along a longer timeline, as opposed to just dropping it all at once, which getting into the experience of 11.1.5 at this point, I don't know that was the best idea, because I am of the mind where the stuff that comes through the Flames Radiance, right? This new renown, of which we only have 10 ranks. I dig the gear. I like the plate. I think it's cool. Yes, it's paladin-y, but like the white version of it and the purple version of it, they're both kind of cool in their own ways. And the other gear is kind of nice. But one, it was bugged out of the gate. And so like the main scenario, which takes 10 minutes to do, and you got to go to that one little area kind of in the back, like the back little area of Hallowfall. You know, you're killing stuff. And it was the first time I did it, it was me, a DK, and I think a shaman, and we were just rounding up little mobs and just blasting them for however long it took originally, because the timer wasn't even working. And so we were just filling up the percentages that we need to get these satchels that we were getting as rewards. And then no boss was popping, so you couldn't get the big reward. And so you knew it was bugged, and there was other stuff that was lagging. You're like, oh, I mean, it's first day, I guess I could kind of forgive it, but then you just end up ripping right through it. There's a couple of other little smaller invasions that you can go to. I think those are dailies. You get through them in, I swear to God, 5 minutes. And I'm not even the best player, right? So if I'm whipping through them that quickly, I know people are just going boom, boom, boom. They're done with one. Boom, boom, boom. They're done with another. And you're getting rewards out of that. So it's continuing to build, you know, your rep and renown and all that stuff. But you get through it kind of quickly. And it is, I can see already, very repetitive. And that will only hold your interest for so long once you get, you know, the upgraded tabard or whatever the stuff is. Gear was coming pretty easily, so I already have like half through 2 days. I already had half of the gear that I needed kitted out, all the transmog stuff. So it was coming quickly, which is nice. But it just, I don't know. It just feels wrong. And maybe I've got the wrong opinion on it. I don't know, but I was expecting the horrific visions and the dastardly duos to be ready, and so when I saw the announcement that it wasn't, I was like, man, I don't know. That just seems wrong. Even the Winds of Mysterious Fortune, which is this kind of, you know, it's one of these get your alts ready sort of event. You know, anything that's what is it, 10 to 79 character level, you know, you're getting buffs for leveling, you're getting gear through these satchels that drop. Like it's a whole thing to get you up and running. The one thing I will say that could be kind of nice is that they're giving a huge buff. I think it's like a 200% faction renown buff to Dragonflight zones. So if you didn't finish your Dragonflight zones, like myself, or you know, getting those renown tracks up, you could run it all through there and get all kinds of stuff. And even the War Within ones are at 100%, so you're getting twice as much on those too. So that's kind of nice, but even that only runs for a month, and then it's done. And it's kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, what's if you're really intent on getting people ready for 11.2, just let it go longer. Just keep it going, and maybe, all right, a month, that's long enough if people have done their thing or whatever it is. But I don't know. The cadence on this just feels really, really strange. And it doesn't seem like there's enough content to fill up what they're supposed to be. And then it was just busted out of the gate, and that never feels good. And I don't know. It feels like that's kind of a... Like, am I misremembering this? Have, like, a lot of the patches kind of been busted out of the gate? Am I just overinflating this, or I feel like we've had this conversation?
Yeah, we might have done. I mean, I suppose it's like hard when they're trying to like get as much content out as possible as fast as possible. Yeah. Because, you know, people are, you know, very sort of like, we want all the content now. In fact, we don't just want it now, we want it yesterday, you know, kind of thing. So I sort of like, I kind of feel their pain a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think we have been here before, basically. Yeah.
I think we have.
What you
One
gonna
of the other. I mean, I'm just gonna keep playing. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. Irrespective of all of this, I have been having a lot of fun, just running delves and gearing up and doing little stuff here and there. And there's still a lot of other content to enjoy, which is nice. I mean, I think we are spoiled to an extent, having a game that gets as much attention and resources, and better than just about anybody, the resource sort of funnel that goes to World of Warcraft because of how much money it generates or whatever the thing is. So we are spoiled in that sort of sense. And to that end, one of the other controversies that have been going on right now, and you and I talked about it a little bit before we started recording, is they put out an announcement, Blizzard did, talking about the War Within Season 2 Turbo Boost is this thing that they're going to do. And I'll read it to you. It says, we're turning things up a notch during the War Within Season 2 with increased rewards and improvements to help you gear up your warband with what we call Turbo Boost. During this event, hero and myth upgrade tracks will extend 2 upgrades from 6 to 8. The cap for crests is lifted, and Valor Stones become warbound for the remainder of the season. Mythic Plus drop rates for warband until equipped gear are also being doubled. And within all of this, we've had a couple of iterations of this dinar thing. So going back to, what was it, the fated season of Shadowlands, this sort of bad luck protection item that you could earn and then you could get a piece of gear out of it. And Blizzard has done a lot of back and forth already, and I'm honestly a little bit confused about where we sit at this moment, because there's going to be a series of quests that are going to be coming out of this where you'll be able to earn a puzzling cartel chip, which is sort of the new version of what this dinar thing is. And so the post that they put out here says, take up a new weekly quest to defeat 4 raid bosses from Liberation of Undermine. Earn 3 puzzling cartel chips upon the first completion of the quest, and 1 chip per week for subsequent weeks, with a maximum of 9 puzzling cartel chips earnable per character. And my understanding is each piece of gear will cost 3 puzzling cartel chips, so you'll be able to get 1 that first week, and then I guess 2 more if you fulfill it all the way through. But I think the rub here is, I'll read this to you here, is it says players can purchase mythic and heroic gear, but will require the associated boss to have been defeated at least once in any difficulty to purchase hero track gear, and at least once in mythic difficulty to purchase myth track gear. So this is where it seems like a lot of the controversy has been, is that rather than opening up the entire loot table, there is a requirement that you have killed certain bosses before you can actually obtain pieces from them. To me, that makes a lot of sense, because then it's kind of like, well, if I can just do this to get the 3 pieces I want, let's say off of Gallywix, then why am I going to even bother continuing to try to down that boss? I guess, you could do it for the fame of it or the accomplishment of it, but so few people have actually done it at this point in time. Apparently, it almost seems like it's just kind of not even worth it to do this in the first place. And I'm not sure then really what is the goal. So maybe I'm just missing this whole thing in particular. I don't know. It seems like a whole bunch of noise about nothing, because to me, I'm out of the raiding game these days, so maybe it's not so bad. But if you're a raid that's still progressing through these tracks, is this not enough incentive? Is this not enough of a reward for folks to really care about? Do you think that Blizzard has stifled this too much based on the description that I've given you?
I mean, I just sort of like, if this is about bad luck protection, I mean, you should not be able to get loot without having killed the boss, because that's like, that's not bad luck protection then, is it? It's free loot protection system. So, I mean, all these kind of loot protection systems have always kind of had a controversial thing attached to them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's like upsides and downsides to all these kind of systems, like even the creation catalyst, right? I think some of it stems from how much player power gradually shifted from the player towards gear. And obviously that's important to make gear feel rewarding. But at the same time, for some classes, it became like such a crux. Like they could not even vaguely compete unless they had their tier set bonus and stuff like that, right? So Blizzard basically gave everyone free tier set bonus, great. But now, like, getting the tier set just doesn't feel anywhere near as rewarding as it used to feel. Like, I remember when I got Judgment Spaulders in vanilla back in the day from, I think, Chromagus drops them, I think, off the top of my head, and completing my 4-set bonus. It was like the best feeling. It just felt so good because I was like, oh yeah, now I'm going to be able to do that Shockadin build where I can go and murder people in PvP with Holy Shock, like that dude in that PvP video. God, I'm going back 20 years right now.
Yeah,
which is crazy. But seriously, it was like that was how rewarding it felt to get that shit. But now it's just like, I'll dump this crappy loot into the catalyst, you know. I'll gear up my ults in 5 seconds, and I think it is important to have some of those features. I mean, of course it is, right? Especially since, like, you know, more so than ever, the game's about having access to that gear, and especially on ults too, because it's like, I want my ults to gear up quickly, and especially when the season's coming to an end. Now that WoW's more season based and the seasons are coming quickly and all that kind of shit, I get why that stuff exists. But when you're sort of asking Blizzard to add protection so you can get mythic track items on bosses you haven't even killed yet, I think it goes too far. And I don't really think like the controversy about that aspect of it makes any sense to me. But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm someone who I raid heroic, so I don't really care about getting any more gear. I'm kind of done with the season. I've got full heroic gear, a couple of mythic track stuff, but I'm not in any. I don't feel any need to go and rush towards. You know, I could grind like mythic 10s. I think it's mythic 10 that gives the mythic track stuff. I could grind mythic 10 to get the loot drops in the vault, for example, you know, but it's just like, why? The gear's going to be out of date again in a few weeks. So like, literally, what's the point? And if you want the mythic track skins, then you can just get that by upgrading the heroic tier sets, right? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's not a big deal to me, but
yes, it's
what's more of a big deal is I suppose what's more of a big deal is the bugs and all that kind of shit, you know.
Yeah, they've been a little more immediate. What's been interesting to read about this too is Blizzard having to kind of go, because there's been such an outcry, they've been kind of going back and forth on what to do about this situation. And one of the things that I think that they've done, unfortunately, is they've kind of created their own problem by doing this in the middle of an expansion, whereas the other times it was at the end, right? But now you're trying to do it in the middle when there's another season that's going to come. And they even talk about how, well, we don't want to make it too good because then things don't become as rewarding and it doesn't make as much sense to them. So they want to try to limit it to some degree. And it's just, I don't know. It seems like they had good intentions, but you know, I think that's what they say the road to hell is paved with. So they gotta be kind of careful with this sort of stuff. So we'll see how it turns out. I doubt it's ever going to affect me, but if I have misunderstood this situation, please right into the show, get into our Discord, yell at me there. Be perfectly happy to take those comments. But overall, we've had less than a week with patch 11.1.5, and it has not been well received up to this point. I have not heard a lot of compliments, let's say. I think there's some cool gear to earn off the new reward track from the Flames Radiance. There's a great Lynx mount. There's some other transmog stuff that's really cool. But outside of that, it needs the rest of its components, I'd say. When the horrific visions start back up, when the dastardly duos are in place, I think that will probably bring a different flavor, and we'll talk about that when those happen and kind of see how we feel about them. I will definitely be doing horrific visions. I'll just tell you now, Jez, as scared as I am of them, as much as I don't like them, as anxiety inducing as they were back in the day when I was like gonna run out of sanity or whatever the deal was, I know I'll be jumping into them. Me and the homie Rommel, I'm sure we'll be doing them because he always kicked ass at those things. So I will have to do it if for no other reason, Jez, than just so you and I can talk about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed them, but I like anything that's themed around those aspects of the game. You know, Void, Shadow, Burning Legion. I'll do all that shit. But maybe do Paladin. Might be growing Paladin transmog, and I'm not interested.
That sounds wrong for a Warlock. I mean, that just doesn't sound right. But with your horrific visions, it sounds like they're going to be adding a couple of new masks too to increase some of the challenges and difficulties with them. So you'll get a little new flavor for your old god voidy tendrily fucking madness that you love so much. So
sweet.
We'll see. I can't wait to get your review. That's really what I'm looking for. So if I've misunderstood any of this, or if y'all have some different tastes and flavors on that, feel free to write in the show and let us know. On the perhaps the other end of the spectrum, things that people definitely are liking so far is the player housing stuff. And we've talked before. There was the big blog post that they put out where they talked about the kind of their overall philosophy, and then showing us how stuff will be placed in there. Like they showed little video clips of items that they were moving around and had different colors and different things. So we got to see more of a hands-on perspective of the tool set and stuff like that. And that was really cool. But we just got another recent blog post where they talked about specifically housing rewards. And that is one of the other big things about this is, okay, well, you're showing us the stuff that we have in here. How do we get this stuff? And I said, well, it's a journey and it's going to be available from all these different things. Okay, well, what are all these different things? And in this blog post, as there's a lawnmower starting up right outside my window. So if you hear all this, folks, hey, welcome to live radio, so to speak. They show us a couple of examples of how some of these pieces will be obtained. One of them is they show a dungeon journal, and in the loot table there was an item. And this one particularly is the Argusian crate, so it's a style of crate that you can have. Another one is they show just a vendor in Stormwind has a piece. You can just buy this piece off of this vendor. Another one that they talk about, and this is a big one, I know we've all wondered about it, is past accomplishments and how those will play a role in things that we might be able to obtain from those accomplishments. Like, will I have to go back and kill the Lich King? Will I have to go back and kill Onyxia? Will I have to go back and do these things? Apparently not. They've said that they will have a reverence for the past is the principle that they're relying on for this. So we will be granted certain things from old achievements, and we're going on, like you just mentioned, Jess, 20 years of history. So that's a lot of stuff, and what that's going to look like, we'll see more of. They also mentioned professions. Every profession that generally it looks like is going to be able to make something. So Blacksmithing creates decor made primarily of metal. Enchanting creates magical decor like floating books or glowing orbs. Jewel crafting creates decor like gems and gem-studded objects, as well as being the designated stoneworking profession. A lot of opportunities there. And then at the end of the post, they had some other sort of what they called light housekeeping. And in there, one of the items that they talked about, I thought was kind of interesting in that all of these items are going to be bound to your account. And so the example that they give is, let's say you have 4 chairs. Well, you only have 4 chairs. So if you place 3 of them somewhere, you will only have 1 left on your whole account to use of those 4, whatever that is. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they are limiting that across the entire account. Something I guess I hadn't really thought of before. Along with certain unique decor, they specifically call out Onyxia's head, that you won't be able to have 9 copies of it plastered up on a wall. You'll just have the one, which I think is one of the big ones. It's one that they certainly put right in there front and center in that first teaser video that they put out. But looking at all of this, Jez, all of the stuff that they talked about here, does this sound like they're still progressing down the right path? Anything that jumped out to you, or any concerns that you might have seen?
Well, I think it's like they're going in the right direction. I think it'd be dumb if you could have 9 of Onyxia's head, for example. That'd be really dumb, and defeats the point of having an epic reward, I think. But I suppose some of them aren't going to be unique. So like you mentioned, like you can have 4 chairs, but you'll be able to craft like 10 chairs of, I suppose, of some things, right? Yeah. It'd be dumb if you like only one of your houses could have enough chairs to fit a dinner table, right? So I think they are going down the right path, the right route, I think, personally. I suppose we need to learn more about exactly what some of the stuff entails. Mm-hmm. One thing I thought was interesting, did you mention this? I might have missed it, but the whole thing with old professions. So like, I don't know if you noticed this, but like, what if you've got like Cataclysm crafting, for example, or WoW Classic crafting, there's going to be items that give you a reason to go back to like Outland, level up your profession there, and get like Outland gear and shit like that, like Outland style furniture and stuff like that. So I thought that was very, very interesting, actually, because it's right now there's pretty much no reason to have some of those old professions, no reason whatsoever. Yeah. So if we were to go down this route of like now there is a reason to get that stuff, you're going to see people flooding the old zones, grinding fell steel and shit like that back in the day. Yeah. But that's the kind of content that some people love doing. Some people love that shit, and some people, like those 20-year-old characters, they already have those professions leveled up. So for them it'll be like, oh shit, now I'm like the server's best fell steel dude or something.
It could be a huge boon. I don't know about you, but I know for myself, all my banks are just full of old shit. Like all of these old items that I've held on to, and also all of these old materials that I've held on to, because I'm just kind of a pack rat in game where I'm like, I don't know, maybe someday I might need that whatever fell steel again or something else. So maybe this is an opportunity to clear out the banks and build yourself some gear, or build a table, or I don't know, maybe there's that tapestry you always wanted. Like, hey, I'm glad I saved all that, I don't know, wool or some shit. Like, I could see that happening. That could be kind of nice.
Could be an excuse to level an alt in an old expansion that you haven't played for ages too.
Yeah. It's endless, and again, as my ship is slowly kind of turning on this, I'm feeling a little bit more interested in it. It really does feel like it's endless, and they make a statement. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. What do they say? It's something like you can get everything you want, but you can't have everything. It's something like that, where
I mean, there's going to be some kind of performance limit on the housing because of server stuff and like not letting people blow their computers up. You know, I'm sure like there will be like an upper limit on how many items you can have, like a budget, right? Like Fallout 76's housing system. There's always a maximum budget of what you can have in there. So I presume there'll be some shit like that, you know. But
yeah, I'm looking for. I think the quote I'm thinking of is, getting any single piece of decor should eventually be possible, but getting everything should be incredibly difficult. There you go. That's what they were saying. So yeah, I mean, I could believe it if there was something, let's say, on Mythic in Undermine right now. Yeah, it probably is going to be several years before I would even try to solo that. You know what I mean? So there could be stuff like that. I mean, Gallywix's throne. Doesn't he have a throne? Is the big chair in the... Oh, wait. No. They don't even use it. Homeboy kicks it to the side. Oh, maybe we should go get that chair in that little boardroom there in Undermine where all the goblin leaders are getting together. You can put that in your place. But I mean, it's stuff like that, right? It could be anything. I've got a blacksmith portion of my character that I always fire up at the beginning of an expansion, then I kind of forget about it the rest of the time. So maybe it's an excuse for me to get back up in there. But yeah, I continue to appreciate where this is going, and if somebody hasn't started it already or isn't planning on doing it, I would think that there would be some kind of, I don't know, monetization. I mean, for the sake of the era that we live in now, some monetization to be had for building a website that catalogs all this stuff. And I know Wowhead will have it and all that kind of thing, but like, isn't there a website that's all about like pets?
Petopia. You know, unfortunately, the creator of Petopia died a few months ago. It's really sad.
That's right.
But I use that website religiously over the years.
Yeah.
For mini pets and also hunter pets. So yeah, I presume someone there's going to be an entire ecosystem dedicated to this. Like, I remember when Blizzard was like, we're taking this really seriously. There's going to be a whole team dedicated to it. It's because it's going to be a huge fucking deal. It's going to be like, you know, the potential for this is, I can see that there's potential here that people only play WoW for this. You know, obviously it's going to be huge with role players and crafters, but this further expands the gameplay ecosystem for people who don't necessarily want to raid or don't necessarily want to do Mythic Plus. Or maybe they don't even want to do delves, you know? There's a potential here where people can be like, oh, actually, I'm gonna be like the world's greatest crafter. I'm gonna be the guy that creates every piece of furniture you could ever want and imagine, you know, all that kind of shit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's awesome personally. I'm really excited about it. And I'm gonna lose myself in it, you know?
I can see it happening. I mean, the more that they give us, again, not having any frame of reference myself, it's stunning. Quite honestly, like this is, maybe you could. I'd love for you to be able to use your magic resources to find out like what is the size of the team that is dedicated to this. You know, like this, because this feels like a lot of time and resources are being spent internally to build this out. Am I on a right track, or is this just kind of spread across people that are already doing other jobs and this is just part of a job, do you think? Or is there a dedicated team?
I have no idea. I mean, I presume there is a dedicated team, but I would hope that it's sort of additive, you know. I don't want to hear that, oh, we've had to delay the next expansion by 6 months because we're working on furniture, or, you know, we've had to delay we've had to delay the season or something like that. You know, nobody wants to hear that. But I think like a lot of this work right now is probably underlying systems, and like over time they'll just add more furniture, stuff like that. You know, I mean, potentially you could get interns and students to make a chair shit like that. I mean,
oh yeah,
if you want to go crazy, you could potentially open it up to the community. You know, like Minecraft, games like Minecraft and Roblox let people upload textures. It could be a great way for like them to add a user-generated content system, you know, down the line, and add a layer where like people can make creations and potentially sell them, you know. And I know that's always controversial when you say things like that, but people make a living making Minecraft maps, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's gonna be wild to see it. So if you haven't seen it yourself, it's let's see, what's it called? Azeroth Living, a look at housing rewards, and it's a pretty detailed, I think, explanation of their philosophies, where they're going, and how you as the player will be involved in that. So more good stuff on that end to kind of counterbalance the rest. One item I wanted to mention just quickly is there is a new anthology book coming out, Crossroads, World of Warcraft, The War Within, Crossroads, The War Within anthology. The description here is, after witnessing the fall of Dalaran and braving the depths beneath Khaz-Algar, the heroes of Azeroth face an uncertain future. Across the world, old hatreds are rising, and Xal'atath remains at large, at work on her own machinations. But even amidst a tide of chaos and fear, hope remains. Join Thrall, Jaina Proudmoore, Renzik the Shiv, Farron Lothar, Ilaria Windrunner, and the Locust Walker in this new collection of novellas and short stories that provide deeper insight into the powers at play and the battle still to fight following the War Within. Season 3 on that. These tales serve as a reminder that Azeroth's fate is shaped by the sacrifices and struggles of all, and that even small, quiet actions can echo large throughout history. This comes out November 11th of this year, so we will be well on the road to midnight by then. So I am very curious to see how they continue to flesh out the story here, where, you know, they've been doing this a while. There's all kinds of media they use to add flavor to the story, and yeah, you got to buy the stuff or you got to read it somewhere and check it out to know it. But as long as it's not, how did we end up in Warlords of Draenor, because you had to have read the book to know why any of that stuff happened.
I didn't like that. I've got some of the recent books. I've got this, is that Grimoire of the Shadowlands. I've got that and I haven't read it yet. I bought it because I was like, I'm really hoping that some of Shadowlands makes sense if I read these books. But I read the Sylvanas book and it just made things kind of worse. So, but that was under a different regime. This is under a new regime. So
yeah,
I would be intrigued to read this, I suppose. I really like the WoW Chronicles and the what are they called now? What are they called? The sort of the lore recap books. Are they also Chronicles? I don't know.
There's the Chronicles. There's also the Exploring Azeroth series.
I haven't read those. Which
kind of goes zone to zone, but the Chronicles are like, you know, kind of the big ones at this point.
Yeah.
So more stories to come. If y'all are interested, $30, you can go to, what is this? Books A Million. That was at least the one that I saw here, courtesy of Wowhead. So you can look for it as Crossroads, The War Within anthology, coming out in November. So you got a little bit of time. Now, before we get to our Q&A, our fabulous Q&A, which will be even more fabulous starting today, I did want to run through some quick April trading post items because we are at the end of the month. You got a couple days left. And so I did want to hit a few and a bit of a mea culpa on at least some of these. So I hope that you like the Dark Moon Fair, because if you like the Dark Moon Fair, April is the month for you, because we got mounts, we got transmog, we got all kinds of crazy stuff that is very much very much Dark Moon Fair related. So the big ones here are for 575 Traders Tenders are the Lively Dark Moon Charger and the Violet Dark Moon Charger. Let's see if I get this right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's there, baby. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
These are actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. They're ground mounts only, but the detail on these, as like, you know, you could see like a knight of old riding one of these things, and yeah, it's got a big old god eye right in the chest of the poor animal, but the detail on these is incredible. I did buy one of them. I bought the violet one because the lively one is green, and it just, I don't know, it's kind of a vomity color. It's vom color, but I thought pretty solid. As well as for 325 Trader Tender, the Emerald Snail ground mount.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's there, baby. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
It's a fabulous model. It looks so cool. I know it's a snail, but it just looks rad as hell. It just looks rad as hell. Now, we also have for 380 Trader Tender, there's two ensembles: the Forest Dwellers Blooming Attire and the Forest Dwellers Rooted Attire. And let me hit you with this one.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
I don't want to be anywhere near these because they're big, giant mushrooms growing out of the shoulders, and I don't know if it's tripping something out of my brain, but it's like when you watch The Last of Us and you see just things growing out of people, and it's just, there's some primal revulsion to this, and I can't even look. I gotta move my screen. I can't look at that anymore. It's horrible. But further down below, because I'm not going to belabor this, we have two other pieces. One, just overall, now we have the Vigilante's camo mask and the Vigilante's plum mask. There have been other Vigilante masks, and let me tell you,
that's what I'm talking about. That's why he's there, baby. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
these Vigilante masks are the shit. Like, you could go full on Batman ass in the game with these things. They're pretty sweet. I dig them. I like them. Now, here's where the mea culpa comes in. All the weapons,
I mean, it's all right. Like,
they're okay. They're okay. They're nothing to write home about. But they have this month. They're individual, and then they're also a set of these war skirts and leg wraps. And I was like, war skirt? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I get it. This is like old school gladiator wear. Like, if you want to go full, a gladiator, regalia, I guess you could go shirtless with the thing, and but if you wanted to put on a top and you're like, yes, I am Maximus Decimus Meridius, and like this is who I am now, you gotta get the camo war skirt and leg wraps. There's the plum and there's the camo, and you can get just the war skirt or just the leg wraps, but for 50 Trader Tender you can get both together. And here's what I'm telling you.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why he's there, baby. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
Every character will have sexy ass legs when they wear these things. You'd just be like, man, I've never looked so good. And it sounds kind of crazy, I know, coming from me, but you can't go wrong in a war skirt. That's where we are with that. So overall, April's a fairly solid month. A lot of good camo stuff, the shoulder cape, the headgear, like all that stuff. It's pretty good stuff. So I haven't looked at May. I don't know what May is going to bring. But April 2025 trading post, not too bad. All right. To wrap up, as we do now every episode, lovely Q&A. And Jez, last episode, you asked, they demanded that we have an official Q&A sounder like we do to kick off the rage portion of the show and the news portion of the show. And we workshopped it live on air, and they said it's got to be something metal. Jez, welcome to your Q&A. There you go.
Excellent. A+, perfect. Now we can do the Q&A. Great.
That's right. Now we can do a proper Q&A. All the other times was some bootleg shit, but now it's real. So let's get into our Q&A, and with the new metal Q&A sounder, I promised he would get first crack at it. So, from the homie Rommel himself, we got 2 questions. The first being, personally, I'm not too excited for housing, or at least the decorating part of the system. So, if I live next door to you and let my front yard go to shit and basically own an empty house like a serial killer, will you report me to the homeowners association? And to that I say, there will not be a homeowners association wherever I'm living. So if you're living next to me, which I know you will, you are free to trash the neighborhood, because then it'll probably keep the number of people in the neighborhood down, and it'll keep it nice and quiet for me. So I will not be causing any problems, even though my front yard, up until that lawnmower started while we were recording, probably looked like a serial killer lived here. But how about you, Jez? Will you put up with a serial killer looking house next door in your neighborhood?
Hell yeah, I'm a horde. So I expect them to be exclusively serial killer style. I don't want to see no pansy ass bloody alliance style houses in Ogrimmar, man.
No,
in fact, I don't even want to live. I don't
grass.
even want to live in Ogrimmar. Ogrimmar's not serial killer enough for me. I want to live in Brill or the Undercity. What's left of it,
Yeah, yeah. You need a front yard of blight. That's it. That's the only.
That's where I need. That's where I need.
There it is. All right. Question number 2 from the homie Rommel. Do you think that Blizzard will help players like me that don't want to dedicate extra time to decorating by just giving us basic pre-filled housing templates? I could go for a nice pre-made house so that my neighbors don't talk about me behind my back. And here's the trick. They're still going to talk behind your back, because that's what neighbors do. It doesn't end. It's ongoing forever. So no matter what you do, whether you are a serial killer or whether you are in Better Homes and Garden, they're still going to talk shit about you behind your back. But Jez, I got to believe, like your talents, there'll be some kind of base template you could just import and say, okay, here's a basic ass house, right?
Yeah, I imagine there will be. I imagine they'll let people. Maybe you could even share house templates, like you could share talent builds and shit like that. I think that'd be pretty cool to boost the community. I mean, even if they're not planning on that, there's something I would email them and suggest to them. So maybe I'll pass that suggestion up the chain. I think that'd be cool if there's just maybe it's too complicated for a string, but it's it'd be cool if there was a house code you could just share online. I don't know if does Animal Crossing have shit like that? Because I think Animal Crossing is the source of a lot of inspiration for this mode. A ton of inspiration.
Never touched the stuff, so I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Wrapping this up, we have a third and final question, also about player housing, and I feel like we've touched on this a little bit. This is from our friend Ali on Discord, who says, how are you going to decorate your player housing besides skulls? Will it include a yellow eye with a long tongue? And that is a reference to our D&D game, so apologies, folks. That's a bit of an inside one on that. We have some crazy shit going on with that game. When I think about player housing, as we've thought about from the beginning, I assume as much as possible that whatever I build, because I'm just fucking basic, is I will probably have some sort of housing that looks like the love child of Stormwind and Grizzly Hills. It's just kind of that woodsy, outdoor, old school kind of fantasy vibe. That's probably what it's gonna be, but it's so limitless at this point that I don't know. Can I have Frostmourne laying in a corner somewhere? Can I have half of a piece of a Helm of Domination somewhere? I don't know. I assume there's gonna be trophies, like a trophy wall. I've got some pretty cool weapons I've collected over the years, so being able to stack those up somehow, some way, that'd be kind of neat. Maybe a chandelier made out of all of the one-handed weapons I'll never be able to use because I don't roll like that, because I'm a real Fury Warrior. You know, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But Jez, as you think about it now, again, as we've seen more stuff, how do you think you're gonna decorate your player house?
I want it. One thing that I really remember vividly was back in Wrath when they sort of like, because Wrath was very Forsaken focused, right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like the Forsaken stuff looked really bad, even in Cataclysm. You know, like low poly. It felt like this was something they did like early on in development, and so as a result, it's sort of like it never really shined, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So what I think, and I remember when going into Wrath, it was like, oh wow, they've completely remade all of the Forsaken buildings, like with this sort of cool, sort of Nightmare Before Christmas style gothic twisted
that's a great
purple
way to
and
put
with
it.
black metal. So I would very much love it if I can sort of tap into that and make it look evil as possible, basically, is what I'm saying. Because I'm emo. I'm emo, man.
You need the evil as hell starter pack.
Yeah,
that's what you're asking for.
Yeah,
there it is.
Exactly what I'm asking for.
There it is. Well, listen, folks, if you have ideas, if you want to share kind of your thoughts on what your ideal player house would look like, or items that you think they need to include, or ways that we need to be able to build things, I'd love to hear about it. So please chime in wherever we are at the bunch of places I'm about to list. So I think we've done enough damage for a one episode, sir. So for those who don't already know, where can the good people find you out on the internet, Jez?
I am jezcorden.com. You can find all my socials, all my other projects, and all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, check. I'll say hi in the Unshackled Fury Discord too.
There it is. And my thanks to all of you for listening. And remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berzerker Rage and Unshackled_Fury. Don't really do much there, but post show stuff. But if you do reach out to me there, I will see it. On Blue Sky at Berzerker and Unshackled Fury, where I do check some of that stuff too. And I'm a little more active on there. But yeah, we're available. As well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berzerker, where one day we may stream another show. You can also join our Discord, which Jez just mentioned, links for which are in the profile of the show wherever we are, and on our website, unshackledfury.com. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources, or email us at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.